Oi, 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 what is up, guys? This is Corbin. Welcome to what's going to be a breakdown of the best free-to-play, just super accessible epics for every single faction in Raid Shadow Legends. The kind of epics that you would sweat to pull, particularly early on your account, man, when you're first starting out. And today we have an incredibly special guest. It's only my young Padawan herself, good old BB, who I introduced to the game a few months ago now, and she's ready to take on picking out her picks for some of the best champs in every faction, man. And I'm excited to see what she's learned. How are you doing, BB?
Oh my god, man. First of all, it's amazing to be on your channel. It's such an honor. Thank you for having me. Second of all, hi, Cobb followers. How are y'all doing? And third of all, I feel fantastic, man. Getting to do this video with you was on my to-do list for a long time, so I'm ready that we're finally doing it.
Well, let's get to it then, man. Without further ado, first faction we're going to cover, we go in reverse order, starting off with the good old Sylvan Watchers, where I guess I'll go... no, wait, you know what? You go first. Put the pressure on me to make a pick that's... Because I think I might know who you're going to go for. There's a lot of stacked epics here, though, but who you got?
Honestly, is that for me making you pick first? Okay, never mind. I'll go for my pick. I'll go for, let me think. Okay, so I was conflicted between, right, Kellen and Ornn, but I think I'm gonna go for Ornn, man. My celiac Ornn, he's amazing. I love the way he looks. The whole mushroom vibe is very much my vibe. He's just maybe the best poisoner in the game. Maybe. I don't want to say the best, but he's a great poisoner, man. He's just great to take up into dragon, maybe hard. He can probably solo that thing. Great into clan boss as well. Just lovely champ.
I mean, he's crazy as hell. I agree. He would have been my pick as well for number one, so I gotta reconsider now a little bit. But what I love so much about Ornn is actually his passive as well. Like, not only does he like apply poisons to waves of enemies, that's all great, but whenever a poison debuff is activated on an enemy, and he does bring activation as well, increases champion's health and defense, stacking up to 25%. That's what makes him such like a Giga Chad tank, and allows him to like solo things like Dragon and Ice Golem and stuff like that. Yeah, he's insanely good.
Oh man, well, sorry for stealing your pick. That's what you get for
I
making
gotta,
me pick first.
I thought that might happen, but you know what? I was actually like mouse overing the champ and stuff, like as you were saying that, you know, on my screen. But so there's some insane nukers as well in Sylvan Watchers. Diana, we're not gonna cover voids, by the way, in this video. We're gonna keep it accessible as possible. Void shards, void epics, stuff like that. Just a bit rough to get your hands on in the early game, so we're skipping out those nerds. Even Pan is like an underrated damage dealer. God, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I don't even care, man. I go on about this champion all the goddamn time. Is she actually the best progression epic to pull? Ruella? I don't know. I've really enjoyed using her though on my free-to-play account, man. She brings all kinds of turn meter control and big boss killer debuffs. And yeah, she's absolutely blasting for me in Spider's Den as a result, and Finite as well. And even Chimera, actually. She's in my Chimera team too. She brings a triple hitter A1 with 10 meter steal on crit. So I just have some crit rate gauntlets, have her built nice and fast with good accuracy. So she's just getting this off as much as possible. On the A2, she brings all of the debuffs in the world. Decrease defense, weaken, decrease speed, amazing into, you know, all of the bosses that I just mentioned, with a very high land rate as well, and some 10 meter fill and increased crit rate buff on the A3, which I actually haven't even bothered booking out, to be honest, that much of my Ruella. I've got a couple of skill books still to go into that. Frankly, I don't value it. For me, it's all about the 10 meter steal and the big anti-boss debuffs. One of those champs that you just love to see in the early game, so she's going to be my pick, man, for these Sylvan Watchers. Scooting on along to the Shadowkin, man. Oh, which, would you know it, just happens to be the faction containing Karato Fox Hunter, which is a free legendary that you can get right now simply by signing up to Raid using my beginner promo link down below at the top of the video description box, man. Simply hit that link and use it to create a gosh darn new account right now to get yourself Karato, as well as 3 additional epic champions as you level up your account. It's just the best beginner promo link in the Milky Way galaxy, man. It's outside of the Milky Way galaxy, I don't know. I couldn't speak to that. But yeah, that's good old Karato. But as for the Shadowkin free-to-play god-tier epics, yeah, it's actually me.
No.
The pressure to not pick Taragi. The super obvious, absolutely god-tier epic. I mean, I've got a soft spot for finite champion specialists. So quick shout out to Fenshi. He's a great option if you're struggling into finite in the early game. Burangiri is immense. They've got some good revivers in here as well. I'm gonna go for Hitatsu. I like Hitatsu, man. Hitatsu is my guy. This was the first epic champion I ever pulled on my main account. And man, am I glad that I did, because they took him up to level 60 without really knowing how good he was, and just looking at in-game reviews and stuff. Like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? But it turns out he's just good everywhere, man. He brings a leech debuff on his AR1, some extra team healing, nice to bring into Demon Lord Clan Boss as well. Brings a decreased attack with a 75% land rate, or 80% is it? 80% land rate when fully booked on his A2 against all enemies. Great into waves, great into Demon Lord again. And then he brings some healing and an increased defense buff as well on his A3. And even his passive is quite good too. Remove one random debuff from this champion at the start of each turn, and it prioritizes hard crowd control effects, right? Like the fears and the freezes and stuff like that. So I still use Hitatsu to this day, actually. Oh no, I recently replaced him with Wallmaster Authorian. And so, dude, if you're waiting for a Wallmaster to come along to replace one of your epic champs in like your Ice Golem team, you know that that epic champ is pretty good and actually has some stability on your account, man. So, yeah. For me, that's a Tatsu, man. He's got to be my pick.
I'm gonna keep that in mind, honestly, for when I put when I pull my own Hotatsu, because homie, doesn't he look like a demon lord, a low-key hidden demon lord, demon spawn?
I don't know
under
what
the
the hell he
banner of
looks like, man.
Shadowkin?
He's got like some crazy wings going on as well. I don't even know, man.
I guess I'm gonna go for the basic pick, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about Taragi because he deserves the attention. I think he does. He's just the best support champ for killable Kindle. I call them killable if you don't rely on the unkillable composition clan boss teams, for that matter. What I was talking about, he's just great. He's got that decreased attack on an A1, right? He's got that. Also, if you are also planning on placing him anywhere else, he's also a great crowd controller because he's got that provoke on an AoE. And though it is on a 50% chance, the chance increases by 5% for each debuff on the enemy team. So, great to take it to clan boss for all of these combinations of synergies in the skill. And it also has a great heal. From where do I remember the heal? Here on his A3, the heal increases by 2.5% for each poison debuff on the enemy team as well. Also making him great into clan boss. Do I need to elaborate any further? Why do you guys think he is the standard pick for the best Shadowkin in the game?
He's crazy good. The Ally Protect is also Ally Protect buff as well is also worked into the A3, so that skill on its own is just madness, and is passive on top of that, like as if it all wasn't enough, you know. When attacked, has a chance of placing strong poison on the attacker, so it's just, dude. And he's another one of those champs that you can build to just build him in like regeneration gear, and he can just solo Scarab King in Doom Tower, which is like a boss that gives people so many problems in the early game, you know. So if you've got Taragi, get some good regeneration gear on him. You don't have to worry about it, man. His passive will do all the work. You just have to make sure that he doesn't die, you know. And that's it. So crazy good. Crazy good. Next up, the Dwarves faction, and I believe your first pick.
You could go for something like Morag just because she's free, hella free. But I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna talk about Geomancer, man. He is so dear to heart. This guy, I've been chasing him for 3 months. Can't get my hands on a Geo. But I'll tell you why I think he's the best. First of all, just the crazy turn meter steal, because it is a steal. Also buff steal. So he steals everything from you, leaves you with absolutely nothing left. And if the target is under a burn, which also he places on an A1, he has a chance of placing that burn himself. And a weekend on top of that, on a 3-turn cooldown, which is the skill that comes with the steal of the turn meter. So, I mean, do I need to? Yeah. What else is there really to say about Geo? He's just insane. Yeah. He's just crazy utility absolutely everywhere, man. He blocks buffs on 2 turns. Did I mention that?
Oh god. I mean, he's insanely good. Good. It's also the passive as well, of course, like specifically in the boss fights. With the passive, whenever this champion is attacked, you deflect some of the damage instead. When deflecting damage on each enemy hit, has a chance of dealing 3% max HP damage, as long as he plays the HP burn debuff against the boss. So it's like, again, you just kind of keep him alive against Demon Lord. And is he just like one of the best Demon Lord damage dealers in the game as a result?
I'd say so, man. I'd probably, yeah. Man, I'd put him on the list.
He's insanely good. I mean, he's a legendary in disguise, to be honest. Even his A2 as well, stealing all buffs from the target, if it has an HP burn. I recently killed Amius in Cursed City for my first time ever, and this buff steal was like way more like I didn't have the Geomancer on the team for the buff steal, but I just ended up using it incidentally to like cleanse the boss's buffs, and it was just the most useful. Like it blew my mind just how good Geo is, like as for my epic choice, I think that you're right with the Morag. She just brings like the strong strengthen buff. Do I want to be a bit of a hipster? I mean, again, I wish I could pick a Void Champ, man. Demyth is insane. Gala's like crazy fun. Runekeeper Desdek is great as well.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a
Voidkeeper
lot of
champ.
good ones, man. I think I'm gonna go ahead and spotlight a champ that I pulled recently from Prism Shards, which is Melga Steel Girdle. Just for finishing faction wars, that's it really. Dwarves don't really have a whole lot of revivers going for them. She brings a 5/10 cooldown, fully booked, A3 revive, revives 2 random allies, places a big old shield on them. And yeah, it's also like a pretty significant size shield as well. So a huge reviver. She brings shield buff on all allies as well on the 3/10 cooldown, continuous heal buffs. The A1, is it that great? Yeah, the A1 isn't that great. 50% chance, or rather, 75% chance booked of removing one random debuff from one random ally. Couldn't remove one random debuff from all allies. Now we're talking, but even that aside, I think the rest of her kit is good enough, and she can secure you, that perfect 6-star or whatever, like 3 stars on all stages in Faction Wars for dwarves that I'm comfortable to go ahead and throw her out there, man. But yeah, big shout out to Morag. Even Rearguard Sergeant is an amazing early game clan boss champ, but we'll leave it there, man. We'll leave it there. Okay, moving on to the Knights Revenant faction. Oh god, no, there's too many to pick from here, man.
Oh, I know. These
They're
are
all
scary.
great.
These are
They're all
danger.
really good. I mean, not all of them, but there's a lot. Miscreated Monsters, crazy for wave control. Ally Protect, Sineshas. A lot of people swear by Sinesha. Oh god, Rector, Thalesia. Like, these are champs I built out to max and get so much use out of. I think I'm gonna go with the one that surprised me the most, which is probably gonna be Doom Priest. I really like Doom Priest, man. I really like, because she has such a simple kit. Like, you read it, you don't really think much of it until you get to the passive. At least her A1's just like a single target hit. Yeah, with like an increased crit rate buff, like whatever, increased attack on the A2. Fair enough. It only requires 1 skill, but you get down to 3/10 cooldown. It's fine, but the passive better be good. That's what I'm thinking when I'm reading through this kit. And it is. It's way better than you think. Heals all allies by 7.5% of their HP and remove 1 random debuff from them at the start of this champion's turn. This champion basically unlocked Hydra for me. She was absolutely clutch, man. And all you gotta do to build her, because she doesn't need any accuracy, right? She doesn't place any debuffs. You just build her to be as fast as possible and get her in a relentless set so she gets a chance of getting an extra turn. And she's just spamming the passive as much as possible and just healing the crap out of everybody and cleansing all of those nasty Hydra debuffs, right? All of those provokes, all of those goddamn heal reduction debuffs, the true fears, Yeah, she's just a crazy amount of work. And you can also use it early game as well into things like Demon Lord for cleansing the stun. And yeah, so she's just a good, versatile champ that has quite a lot of stability for getting you introduced into Hydra. So it's got to be Doomy for me.
Doomy's great. I gotta tell you, I'm using her in my unkillable clan boss composition. I'm not allowed to use Relentless on her, and I can only put her at a certain speed, right? So that she's one of the slowest ones to come up before Heli for sure. At least I can't make her faster than Heli. But she's clutching so hard. She's clutching so hard. You guys, this is an illegal champion. Illegal passive. This is insane. I agree. Man, if it's not Doom Priest, I'm gonna have to go for Rector, I think. I'm just gonna go for Rector because I am a heavy fan of this Veil business that she brings along with her, and also her revive is crazy. She revives a single ally with 60% HP, fills her turn meter by 60%, man! What? Fills her turn meter by 60 is crazy. They're basically taking a turn, right? And then she plays the perfect Veil on them for 3 turns, which is a very, very long Veil. And not just that, I think she also places a Veil on absolutely on all allies with full HP. There we go. On all allies with full HP, but she also heals them prior to that with 20% of her max HP and places a continuous heal buff for the allies that have less than 100% HP. She also heals while under a Veil. While an ally under a Veil or perfect Veil gets a turn. It's just crazy healer, crazy support, Veil business. I like the shady, and she has some good resistance aura in the Doom Tower battles if you want to raise your resistance for any reason, but also that strong decreased attack on her A1, even though it's on a chance. She's just well kitted out, man. I love me a Rector draft, and she's quite helpful in early arena, I would say. And arena is really, really important. in the beginning until you get these, bonuses in the Great Hall filled out and everything. Until you get to Gold 5, you're gonna need help.
Yeah.
A lot of help.
I agree. I think she's just honestly great everywhere. For me, it's actually the decreased attack debuff that I love so much in the early game. Taking into things like Ice Golem, just having a couple of champs that can place that in Golem. Same thing with Clan Boss as well. Like when you're just getting started, having that option of just nerfing the boss's damage by a whole bunch and just taking the run a bit slower, buying yourself some time is huge. And then, yeah, like you said, man, the big bonus of having the revive and the veil buffs into Hydra is just insane. That just gives it like so much scalability. Good old Dark Elves faction. Who's picking first? Wait a minute, is it me?
I think it's me this time. I wouldn't throw you under the bus like that. Well, this makes it so easy because I was very, very. I'm so conflicted here. Because I'm a Kale fan, I'm gonna go for Dark Kale. I think Dark Kale is just a obvious step up from Kale, and he's low key free. I mean, you get him from Secret Room fragments once you get the Archmage ones, and yeah, I don't think is he like the third
Third or
champion
fourth?
in
Yeah, something
order
like that.
to
Yeah.
get the fragments from in the secret third or fourth, something like that. So it's a little bit of a grind, but such a worth grind, you man. Such a worthy grind. He has a strong decrease attack on almost 100% chance once you buck that out, actually. Each critical hit also has a 100% chance of increasing the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Crazy. 8-2. Triple hitter on an A1 with instantly activating 2 poison debuffs and 1 poison and 1 HP burn. Crazy? What? And also a 100% chance of placing 5% poison debuffs and a 25% poison sensitivity on the same skill on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns. Do I need to elaborate? His passive is also pretty solid, actually.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of just a legendary champ that you've got to grind a bit to get your hands on. Like the only criticism I've ever heard of Dark Hill is that it takes a bit too long to get him, and so like even if you're just like a bit of a moderate spender in raid, you got like a small budget that you're working with or whatever, then you might have a better option than Kale as a poisoner or like a poison activator by the time you get him, which could be a bit anticlimactic. But if you need him when you get him, he's basically an epic legendary. God. That leaves me who? You know what, man? There's a lot of underwhelming epics here in the Dark Elves faction. Does Kaiden bring a revive? He does bring like a double revive. Attack all enemies, got a decreased attack. Kaiden's not bad. I feel like it's a bit of a cop-out, though, to go for a reviver. I think I'm gonna be a bit of a hipster and actually go with Durandil. This guy's cool, man. He brings a multi-hitter A1 with a chance to place freeze, which is actually relevant because he can help you get started into hard mode Fire Knight, where you actually have to place freezes to deplete the boss's turn meter. Like the mechanics change up a little bit, so this can actually give him a bit of stability on your account. His A2 attacks all enemies, ignores a bit of target's defense, gets a bit of 10 meter fill as well from this on a 3-turn. Not bad. It's really about his A3 and using Durandil for most people, I think, as a arena nuker. With this A3, the modifiers for this are kind of out of control. It's an attack one enemy, ignores 50% of the target's defense, and then places perfect veil buff on himself as well, so it gets a bit of extra survivability. But the point is this A3 just deletes, like it just one-shots people, hits for hundreds of thousands, and just eviscerates somebody from the game unless they're guarded by like Stone Skin or whatever, So yeah, for early game, building this guy as an arena specialist, bit of faction wars action, and then later on for hard mode Fire Knight, I'm going to make Durandil my shout. Is he actually the best pick for like early game free to play? Maybe not, but I don't want to pick the obvious man, so I'm going to go with him.
Oh man,
yeah, it surprises a lot of people. It surprised me when I checked up like demonstration videos of that guy in arena. He's kind of crazy as hell. On to the undead hordes, where now we're kind of spoiled for choice a little bit. I think you know what? We're talking early game here. Early game utility. If Husk had a slightly higher land rate stun on the A2, I'd go for him. Husk is an amazing champion. Dark Elhane's great, to be honest. Gore Grab is insane. Mausoleum is solid. Vorgoth is... Anax is great. The Demon Lord Clan Boss, actually. This is a lot of good epics here. I'm going to go with Seeker because of how easy he is to build out. You build a Seeker, you use him in Faction Wars forever, and you use him as just the fastest build you can possibly get him in, and he'll be in your arena teams for a hell of a long time and continue to provide value in wave content forevermore. After that, he brings a double hitter A1 with a chance to place Provoke, which is fine. It's somewhat helpful into wave content and low level arena. But as A2, it's just a huge 10 meter fill of 30% and an increased attack buff and then he gets himself an extra 10, so can swing in straight away with that A1. It only takes $2, man, to get it down to a 310 cooldown, so, and actually it's a 210 cooldown, because he gets the extra 10, so there's that as well. You're just kind of hoping that the books don't go into the A1, right? It's not the end of the world, I guess, if they do, and you end up having to fully book him. I think you'll be using him for a long time anyway, but yeah, the A2 is just crazy as hell, and nice, simple champion to get your account off the ground in Arena for me.
Oh, totally. And you stole my pick. You stole my
Oh
pick.
my
And
God.
Seeker was my pick too. And honestly, I've been whooped by a Seeker one too many times in Arena too. No, man. I know this
Yeah,
guy
he's good.
smacks, steals. For that matter, he doesn't let me take a turn. That's absolutely the case. Who do I go for if it's not Seeker then? Who do I go? Okay, I'm gonna shout out Dark Elaine. I'm gonna go for my girl Dark Elaine. First of all, do I need to talk about how cool she looks, man, with the eyes and with the bow and with the hey, she's so pretty. Number 2, she's just an insane freezer, man. She is great against freeze enemies because here she feels this on her passive. She feels her turn meter by 25% and instantly activates the A2 whenever she is frozen or an ally of hers is frozen. And what the A2 does, she brings a strong increased attack and a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns on all enemies, for that matter, and destroys the target's max HP on her A1 with 30% of the damage inflicted. She can hit hard and she can tackle tanky bosses, man. I just got her recently, and she's a free login champ, right? You get her on the 90 day? Is it the 90? No, 120 days.
Nailed
Dark
it.
Elaine. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, she's extremely solid. She's
Yeah.
extremely solid.
Yeah, I would go for her.
Honestly, I'm kind of considering building her out myself just for use in PvP at this point, because the amount of Tormans that is showing up now in live arena, where I am at like silver rank, oh my god, man. Anytime I try to boost 10 meter, my entire team gets frozen. It would just be so satisfying to smack him back with a Dark Elhain, you know, and just let the Torment through the ban phase. I don't know, man. That guy infuriates me, man. But she does have that extra use and that extra longevity, you know, outside of just regular PvE content as well. Okay, wait a minute. Did I already pick? Oh, yeah, I did pick Seeker. Okay. Onto the...
Yeah, that's why I picked
Onto
Elaine.
the Demon Spawn.
I love me my demon spawns. I have a sentimental attachment to them because the first ever legendary that I got was no one else but
Oh my
Helicat,
god, yeah.
man. And so I know, and I feel very partial to the demon spawns, and I have a very hard time picking out my favorite epic. For that matter, I think I'm just gonna straight up go for Magnar.
Yeah.
Straight up. Such a hard-hitting nuker, man. And also, I feel like the only thing about Magnar, though, is that he works in the combat. You have to combine him with the burner. I mean, like, it depends
for
on how you
PvE.
want to build him.
Yeah.
Combining him with the burner versus, yeah. Just so he can debuff spread that, take 2 random debuffs and then place them on the enemies under HP burn, which comes on as A3. He cannot spread crowd control debuffs, for that matter, important to note, but hey, do you really need them when you can spread decrease attack, decrease defense, the important ones, right, to set up your other nukes? And he also comes with a very powerful AoE here on his A2, which places an extra hit on enemies without burn, and stun on the ones that are burning. That's on a chance. The stun is on a chance, but it's there. This one hits hard. I know that because the multipliers on this thing, I've tested them out without gearing him appropriately, and still in the very beginner stages of my game, he smacks. And when you ascend him, he also heals himself a little bit of that max HP every time an enemy, I think, was it an enemy or an ally? Anyone in the battle takes damage from HP burn. It doesn't matter who. Anyone in the battle takes damage from an HP burn. So, and he also comes with a strong decreased defense on his A1, which is crazy.
Yeah, he's solid. He's solid. I never actually considered that, but you're totally right about the HP burn with Magna. Like, in the early game, it's more advised almost to use him without an HP burner, and you just use him as just a pure nuker to get, like, a double hit on the A2. Like, that's great into, like, waves of enemies, into arena and stuff like that. And he hits so hard, which is great because he's an HP-based champion as well. So, like, as you're building his damage, he's just naturally getting tankier, which is great. But then, like, later on in the game, where you're up against super high-level waves of enemies, and, like, Cursed City and stuff like that, running him alongside a Demon Spawn HP burner, when you're limited on faction choices anyway in that content, and then getting the stun instead from the A2 might not actually be the worst thing in the world. It might actually work out better, because you're not going to be able to one-shot the waves anyway on some occasions in Curse City and hard mode and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, Magnar's great. He's one of the earliest epics I pulled as well, actually, so I was pretty excited to build him out too. Yeah. He's a
Really?
good guy, man. He's a good guy.
Oh, he's great.
God, my pick for the Demon Spawn. Again, we've got Allura, the good old Fire Knight specialist. She's amazing as well into Dagfair in Doom Tower. Akoth is a great, completely free secret room HP burner as well. I think he's actually the second champion you get from normal secret rooms. This is insanely hard though to actually make a pick here. I'm gonna shout out both of the stun set champions as well. Both Nazana and Infernal Baroness both have multiple attack all enemy skills, with Infernal Baroness having it on her A1 and her A2, as well as placing like key debuffs. So you put these gals in a stun set, and they're just controlling the crap out of waves while bringing all kinds of useful debuffs as well. So they're both amazing. I think I'm going to go with Akoth in the end. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have an HP burn champion on your account, he's such an easy one to get your hands on from just farming normal Doom Tower secret rooms. You're going to get him completely for free eventually, and early enough in the game that, you know, if you're struggling to find an HP burner, he might just arrive on your account at just the right time. His HP burn is on his A2. It's an attack all enemies, 3-turn cooldown, doesn't require books at all, which is another bonus, right? It's 100% land rate HP burn, depending on where you use them in the content, right? Because it has a 20% chance of placing HP burn for a couple turns. The chance of placing the debuff, though, increases by 20% for each alive enemy. So in Hydra, that's 4 alive enemies, 100% land rate. In Spider, the Spiderlings all over the place, you're gonna have a like 400% chance to place the HP burn, you know? So all the places where you want to use him, he basically has 100% land rate HP burn, you know? So, yeah, perfect stuff for me. Can just represent a hell of a lot of progress on your account. Now, he does combo up with Rian the Conjurer on his A3. They've got like some skill synergy going on, but I don't know. Do people actually run Rian the Conjurer alongside Akoth? I don't think so. I think Akoth is just fine on his own. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and be my pick. What is his passive again? Has a 10% chance, or rather 25% chance, book to placing Fear on an enemy for 1 turn whenever they receive damage from an HP burn debuff placed on themselves. I don't know why it had to say placed on themselves.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, just a bit unnecessary, but there you go. Yeah, so just a bit of an interesting extra wave control there as well, man. Akoth to see it, he's gotta be my pick. And given that we've been shooting for nearly 31 minutes again here, which is crazy as hell, and we're only halfway through, it is time to reveal that part 1 of this video has actually already been recorded and is uploaded probably right now at the time you're watching this video up on BB's channel. You can find her channel linked down below in the description box. So make sure to head on over there and check out where we actually have already covered at the time of recording this all of the other factions in the game as well, covering some champs for you to look out for in the early game. Nice and accessible epics that are going to just boost the crap out of your account, man. So make sure to go and do that. Oh, and make sure to subscribe to BB as well while you're there, man. She's pumping all kinds of daily content. She's blasting and she's doing great, man. I'm proud. You know what I'm saying? BB! Any closing words? Any closing words?
Thank you so much for having me on this video. It was so fun, and I can't wait to do the next one. I already have video ideas, and also thank you guys so much for supporting Cobb and Game Leap and
we're doing
take care of
great.
yourselves.
We're blasting. Yeah, we've got so many more ideas for extra videos. Oh my god, like the list is getting a bit ridiculous now. I think we're gonna have to call it for today, though. I think we're both exhausted after all these champion reviews. Before we do leave you, however, remember that you can sign up to reusing my beginner promo link, which is down below at the top of the video description box, man, to get your hands on the best possible start imaginable with all kinds of free champs, including a free starter legendary. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy this one. And we are both going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later.